Welcome back, friends. In our life, real happiness does not comes with external things. External things such as money, house, luxury item may provide short-term happiness, but they does not stay for longer. They only give short-term happiness. The true meaning of happiness is filled with self-realization of life, where there is nothing to gain and nothing to lose. So, let's understand this through a story of a wise monk. Once upon a time, there was a high class rich man. As he became older, he realized that the suffering of old age was about the same for rich and poor. So, he gave up his wealth and class position and went into the forest to live as a poor monk. He practiced meditation and developed his mind. He freed himself for unwholesome thought and become contented and happy. His peacefulness and friendliness gradually drew 500 followers to his side. At that time, most monks usually looked pretty serious, but there was the one monk who even thought he was quite dignified and always wore at least a little smile on his face. No matter what happened, he never lose his glimpse of inner happiness. And on happy occasion, he had a broader smile and the warmest laughter of all. Sometimes monks as well as others would ask him why he was so happy that he always wore a smile. He chuckled and said, "If I told you, you wouldn't believe me, and if you thought I spoke a lie, it would be a dishonor to my master." The wise old master knew the source of happiness that could not be wiped from his face. He made this happiest monk his number one assistant. One year after the rainy season, the old monk and his 500 followers went to the city. The king permitted them to live in his pleasure garden for the springtime. The king was a good man who took his responsibility as a ruler seriously. He tried to protect people from danger and increase their prosperity and welfare. He always had to worry about neighboring king, some of whom were unfriendly and threatening. He often had to make peace between his own rival minister of states. Sometimes his wife fought for his attention and for the advancement of their son. Occasionally, the dissatisfied subject even threatened the life of the king himself. And of course, he had to worry constantly about the finances of the kingdom. In fact, he had so much to worry about that he never had time to be happy. As summer approached, he learned that the monks were preparing to return to the forest. Considering the health of the welfare of the old leader, the king went to him and said, "Your reverence, you are now very old and weak. What good does it do to go back to the forest? You can send your followers back while you remain here." The chief monk then called his number one assistant, who always wore a smile on face, and said to him, "You are now to be the leader of all the 500 monks while you will all live in the forest. As I am too old and weak, I will remain here as offered by the king." So the 500 returned to the forest and the old monk remained in the kingdom. The number one assistant continued practicing meditation in the forest. He gained so much wisdom and peace that he became even happier than before. He missed his master and wanted to share his happiness with him. So he returned to the city for a visit. When he arrived, he sat on a rug at the feet of the old monk. They didn't speak very much, but every so often the number one assistant would say, "What happiness, oh what happiness." Then the king came to visit. He paid his respect to the chief monk. However, the one of the forest just keeps saying, "What happiness, oh what happiness." He did not even stop to greet the king and show proper respect. This disturbed him and he thought, "What all my worries? I am busy as I am looking after the kingdom. I take time for the visit of this monk that does not respect me enough to even recognize me. How insulting." The head old monk replied, "O king, have patience and I will tell you the source of his happiness. Not many knew that he was the only king, just as rich, as mighty as you. Then he was ordained a monk and gave up all his life. Now he think his old happiness was nothing compared to his present joy. He used to be surrounded by armed men who guarded and protected him. Now he is sitting alone in the forest with nothing to fear. He has no need for armed guard. He has given up a burden of worrying about wealth that has to be protected. Instead, free of the worry of wealth and the fear of power, his wisdom protect him and others. He advanced in meditation so much inner peace that he cannot keep from saying, "What happiness, oh what happiness." Then the king understood at once. Hearing the story, the happy monks made him feel at peace. He stayed for a while and received advice from both of them. Then he honored them and returned to the place. Later, the happy monk, who once had been the king, paid his respect to his master and returned to the lovely forest. The old chief monk lived at the remain of his life and died and was reborn in the high heaven world. We'll see you friend in the next video. Thank you for watching. Stay happy.